So if the profile panel is not displayed, you see the profile panel right here, you would click the edit button up here, and you may have to scroll to where you can see it. It's above the controls, so if you can't see it, it might be scrolled out of view, so simply scroll that panel until you can see the top. And from there we want to choose Adobe Landscape. That is what we are going to choose. The default profile, which is Adobe Color, is a general purpose file. Adobe Landscape emphasizes colors in nature like trees and skies and works well for this image. The goal of Adobe Portrait is natural representation of skin tones, and Adobe Vivid adds punchy color contrast. Adobe Monochrome provides a high quality conversion to black and white, and you see all of those there. The profile sets the ranges for the edit controls, laying the foundation for the more precise edits you'll make in Camera Raw. If the current profile produces a look that's far from what you want, it may be difficult to get there using edit controls alone. It's better to choose another profile as a better starting point. An image's white balance represents the color conditions under which it was captured. A digital camera records the white balance at the time of exposure. This is the value that initially appears in the Camera Raw dialog box image preview. White balance comprises two components. The first is temperature, which is measured in kelvins and determines the level of coolness or warmth of the image. That is, its cool blue-green tones or warm yellow-red tones. The second component is tint, which compensates for magenta or green color casts. Depending on the settings you're using on your camera and the environment in which you're shooting, for example with artificial light or mixed light sources, you may want to adjust the white balance for the image. By default, as shot is selected in the white balance, applying the white balance settings that were in your camera at the time of exposure. If you think you could improve on the current white balance setting, Camera Raw includes several other white balance presets that you can try. If you can't see white balance options under the profile menu, click the basic panel to expand it. So that's right there. There's your white balance. There's a shot like it default. So let's choose cloudy. You see the clouds? Let's change this to cloudy. And you see that it changed it some. Camera Raw adjusts the temperature and tint for a cloudy day. Sometimes a preset is an instant fix. In this case though, there's still a blue cast to the image. We're going to adjust the white balance manually. So select the white balance tool, this little eyedropper looking thing here. To set an accurate white balance, select an object that should be white or gray. The spot where you click becomes a reference for neutral white balance. Camera Raw will shift the image colors accordingly. Click the white clouds in the image. Oh, hang on. I didn't have this selected. Now I do. So now click a different area of the clouds. Let me go back and select mine again. Click a different area of the clouds. Darn it. Why am I not getting this? When you click different images, the color balance shifts again because that area of the clouds has slightly different color values. To find the best color balance quickly and easily, click the white balance tool on an area that should be neutral. Clouds are not always a neutral color depending on the time of day. In Camera Raw, clicking different areas changes color balance without altering the original image file, so you can experiment freely. Click the white area of the small sign in front of the church. This little small sign right here. Click that white area. This removes most of the color casts. To see the changes you've made, click and hold the Before After Views button at the bottom of the window and choose Before After Left Right from the pop-up menu. If you only click without holding, it cycles to the next option. So down here, right here. So if I click and hold, you see you have different choices. And so just go through those and look at different ones. Camera Raw displays the before image on the left and the after image on the right so you can compare them. So I'm going to do click and hold and just drag it over. And the before image is on the left, the after image is on the right. To see only the after image again, click and hold that button and choose single view. Or if you prefer, you can leave both views visible so you can see how the image changes as you continue to alter it. So it's question time. The two components of white balance are what? Is it temperature and focus, resolution and tint, luminosity and brightness, or temperature and tint? If you thought in your brain temperature and tint, you would be correct. So the group of options in the middle of the basic panel, starting with exposure, right here, affects how tones are distributed from dark to light in the image. Except for contrast, moving a slider to the right in that group lightens the area of the image it affects, and moving it to the left darkens those areas. Exposure sets the overall brightness of the image. The highlights and shadows options control detail in near white and near black tones respectively. The white option defines only the white point or the lightest tone of the image. Tones above its value are made white. Conversely, the blacks option sets the black paint or the darkest tone in the image. Tones above its value are made black. Dragging the contrast slider to the right moves darker and lighter midtones away from the midtone. Dragging left moves those tones toward the midtone. For more nuanced contrast adjustments, you can use the clarity option, which adds depth to an image by increasing local contrast, especially around the midtones. The saturation option, it's a lot of reading. The saturation option adjusts the intensity of all colors in the image equally. The vibrance option is often more useful because it has a greater effect on the understated colors. For example, you can use vibrance to bring life to an image without oversaturating any skin tones in it. So up here, you can click this auto button. Clicking auto, if you click it back and forth, it goes between settings. The auto button changes several settings in the basic panel and the image is greatly improved. Autocorrection may produce a useful image right away because it's based on advanced Adobe Sensei machine learning technology, which is trained using a wide variety of professionally corrected sample images. This makes auto a quick way to reach a good starting point for your own edits. If you like the results, you can study and learn from the adjustments made by auto. You can also choose to keep some auto adjustments and change others, or you can enter your own adjustments as you're about to do. We're going to set the options as follows. So go to exposure, and I'm going to type these in. So we want this to be 50. Contrast is going to be 0. Highlights -20. Shadows 70. Whites 20. Blacks -10. Clarity 20. Oop. Clarity is 20. And vibrance is 20. So those settings brighten the image, especially the dark shadow areas, and boost color without oversaturating it. So let me ask you this. What does the blacks slider set? Is it the darkest point in the image, the lightest point in an image, all of the darker colors in an image, or the dark point? Correct answer would be the darkest point in the image. I think this is a great place to stop this video